So, I have been, I woke up this morning and I wasn't happy. I was sad. I was annoyed at myself. Um, I was in a bad mood. And, I don't like that. No one likes that. So, what I've been doing recently is putting on like a motivational thing on my phone, like YouTube, go to one of those um, motivational videos, like with Les Brown or like Will Smith or like Tony Robbins or a bunch of different motivational people, and I find it useful, but I don't feel like it really makes me happy. Like it doesn't really pump me up and get me excited. Um, and for the day, which is what I really want to feel. I want to feel kind of like excited that I'm alive. And, I was not feeling that today. Um, for a couple of different reasons, but something that is important to me. Well, okay. Well, first, so I'm doing these videos as an just as a general esoteric reason for doing these videos. I'm on a self improvement journey, and I'm very purposely, intentionally improving myself or improving my mindset and those sorts of things. And I'm doing it because um, I know that there are people out there coming from where I was, and where I was really bad. And it's a place where you don't have hope, especially as an adult. Not even a young adult. You're just like, wow, I really should have done something by now. You know what I mean? And if I can't do it, if I haven't been able to do it by now, I'm never going to be able to do it. And I'm horrible and I'm terrible and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And I know what it's like to be in that place. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible place. And a lot of times you do not feel like you can get out of it. You don't feel like you're capable. You don't believe in yourself. And you don't even really want to believe in yourself. You want to stay angry at yourself. And it's it's a sad, dark place. And I am doing these videos because I want people to know who are in that place that it can get better. Because when I was in that place, I did not think it could get better. So I'm like there with you, you know what I mean? Like I was there, I get it. Like I did bleak, bleak future, like why am I even here? It did not seem like you look at your past and you're like, well, that's what I've been doing this whole time. And, you know, scientifically, like hypothesis, like, you know what I mean? Like it's proven that this is what I do. So this is what I'm going to continue to do. You know what I mean? Like the future can't possibly be any different because look at what I do in the past. I know this is what's going to happen. And you don't see a way out. You don't see the problem with that kind of thinking. And usually you're pretty smart and you can think yourself around positive thinking. You're like, no, 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 no. But it can be done. Like it can be done. You can get out of there. You can make a life for yourself, and you have to have patience. You have to have patience with yourself. You have to know it's not going to happen overnight, but it does happen if you want it. First thing you got to do is surround yourself with supportive people. Um, that's how I got it. Well, first thing you got to do is want to improve and start looking at yourself and start questioning why you're like this, why you feel this way. And the way I did that was through journaling. There's this book called The Artist's Way, and I had attempted to do it a bunch of times. It's a 12-week workbook. Each week you go and do a different chapter, and then you have tasks at the end. But one of the major things is something they call the morning pages, and every morning you have to write 3 pages in a notebook or a journal or whatever, stream of consciousness, and you have to do it, right? You take a half an hour, or in my case, I kind of, because it was COVID, I didn't have anywhere else to go. I would write like 6 or more. But what I did was I started this journaling, and I was looking at a book called uh, the heart of the Buddhist, the heart of understanding the Buddha or something like that by Thich Nhat Hanh. I can never get the words in the right order. Um, and I was kind of looking at the concepts. You know, I read through it a little bit, well, a little bit, tried to get through the whole thing several times, but again, no. And I was looking through the concepts, and kind of my method was to read, and then anything that jumped out at me, I would start writing about and explore it. And I got closer to my understanding of God, which I'd been kind of away from for a while. And anyway, so through that process, through believing that it can get better, I started opening myself up and like to what was going to happen to the universe. And you know what? It doesn't happen. It doesn't just go like that. You have to keep telling yourself and keep telling yourself. I came up with a prayer that like I've been saying for a year now, like every day, and it's amazing what that will do for you. But you have to keep doing it every day, every single day, because it doesn't happen overnight. Anyway, I got to a point where I had like this major breakthrough in thoughts about forgiving myself and thoughts about leaving those negative thoughts, or at least recognizing them and saying to myself those aren't useful. um, you know, these thoughts are not helping me. And if I want in the end, if I want to make something of my life and I don't want to be here in another 20 years, I have to do something. And while before it had that thought plenty of times, um, it was either like I'll do something, not I'll do something later, but like later it'll be better. Like later I'll feel better, and you won't. You won't unless you do something about it. Um, but you can do something about it. You can. And so I had this breakthrough about forgiving myself and what that entails. And um, like it was this crazy. I was alone for 5 weeks in a row. I'd been living with my boyfriend at the time, and he went to go visit family. Um, and I had 5 weeks completely by myself, which was actually really great because I treated it like it was a retreat. I treated it like, okay, this is my time to work on myself. And that went really well. But I reached a certain point at which I said, like, I can't go on past this point by myself because this is all I know how to do. And one of my biggest problems was my financial situation. Um, and that, I mean, it's a problem. It's still a problem. It hasn't gone away yet, but I'm on my way there. I am on my way there, and I can see that it will. It's gonna get better. It is getting better. It is getting better. Um, but I got as far as I could on my own with personal development, and I recognized that, like, even when COVID ended, and you know what I mean, like I was still gonna be back in the same situation. I don't know how to handle money. I don't know how to make money. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I just had no idea what to do. I had no idea what to do, and it was very scary. And I prayed really, really hard um, to the universe, asking it, like just really begging, like, I need help with this. Like, I obviously cannot handle this on my own. I am obviously completely, at that moment, completely incapable of doing this. Because if I were capable of doing this, I'd have done it. And I don't know what to do. And I just sort of gave that up. You know, I was just like, I don't know what to do, and I'm at the end of where I can figure out. You know, like, cause it's the same thoughts over and over again. You're like, I don't have any answers, and I'm not going to get them. I need help. So please bring me something to help me. And the next day, I got a friend of mine told me about the 52 weeks to wealth, which is that this like thing on every Saturday at 10 o'clock that I go to, and it was my beginning of my experience with the Alchemist Nation, the Alchemist community, and I'm very grateful for that because it is the community itself is about building wealth, which requires especially if you're like where I was. Mindset changes, right? Big ones, big, big mindset changes. And one of the things you do in this group is you read a book a week. So reading a book a week, I mean, you get all this like, you never know. Like I always thought I could know it on my own without finding out. I don't know where I got that from, but I should know everything already. And if I didn't, that's my fault. It was bad. Um, so I I started reading and I started listening to people who at that point it's like, okay, these are people who have wealth, who've built wealth, who know how to build wealth, who know how to be a business owner, who know all the stuff that I don't know that I need to know. So I just opened myself up to it and I joined this group. And I mean, I cannot recommend to you enough having a supportive group around you. I highly recommend the Alchemist Nation. I really do. I mean, I'll put my link down at the bottom in a minute towards their information, but I would not be endorsing them as strongly as I do if they hadn't changed my life uh, in a big way. Huge, big, big and huge. Um, so anyway, I lost my train of thought. So I have these people around me who believe in me and don't stop believing in me, even though like me I don't, and maybe I would have stopped believing in me if I were them. But it makes you keep going if you have a support system. Anyway, it's complete. Well, it's a good thing to have the background of all this. So today I woke up and I was not happy, and I've been listening to these books by this guy Michael Singer. His books are um, The Surrender Experiment, The Untethered Soul, and then there's this course on Audible you can take. Course, it's just like it's a lecture series basically, called the Living from a Place of Surrender. And these things have just like not radically shifted my mind. It's all stuff that you kind of it's not that you knew it, but you kind of did already. You're just like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. Like you recognize the truth. That's what it is. I recognized the truth. And one of the things that is a main like the basic idea is that we are consciousness, right? We're not our bodies and we're not our minds. That got me. We're not our minds. Our mind, we are the person, we are the being that observes our mind and observes our feelings. Um, and when you think of it that way, you realize that you are the universe made conscious of itself. And when you really get that, and I mean, I don't think that you can actually really, really get it because we're human beings and our comprehension is incredibly limited, but in as much as you can allow yourself to understand that, you realize like who am I to not like me? Like who what like no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like my existence is beautiful, everybody's existence is beautiful. um anyway, so today I was praying and I kind of had like a series of revelations, which are, like honestly, I get very comfortable on camera. I obviously I want you to see me as I am, right? I want you to see me as I am because I am going through this journey, and I want to take, if you need the help, I want to take you with me, and I want you to see that I am who I am. So I don't right now, like whatever, I'm not going to do my hair. I'm just nothing on my face. I'm like in not ratty clothes. They're definitely not ratty, but like certainly not fancy. You know what I mean? Like super casual. And that's where I am right now. You know what I mean? And as I progress, I know myself, so I know that I will care more. But right now, I want you to see where I am as I develop, which is why, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna make an effort to show anything that's not who I am right now. Um, so one of the things during this last summer that I realized was like there's two basic parts of me. One of me was punishing the other one, right? There's this like these two, this almost dichotomy that exists at the same time, like together at the same time, but also apart. And I realized that I could talk to them, like I could speak as them, as individuals, and that sounds a little crazy, but I was able to talk to myself about it and think about forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and how to go move forward. And the first thing it started out with apologizing to myself. Um, and it was the person who was getting the beat down that was apologizing to the person who was doing the beating, the punisher versus the punishee. And the punishee really was very sorry for not doing anything for so many years and for not following my dreams and for not keeping going. And like the other part of me just didn't respect myself at all. I mean, neither part of me really did. But let's be honest about that. Like, there's this one part that was doing the punishing, the one that's like, you should have done this, you should have done that, blah blah blah. And that part of me that was getting punished apologized to the part of me that was doing the punishing, um, for not for all of the, like, losing 10 years, basically. Losing 10 years for not being the person that I thought I was, or that I wanted to be. And um, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I don't want to end my video now. Um, so I was able to kind of have an arrangement with myself. Like I have this arrangement with myself where it's like, okay, I'll forgive you, but you got to prove to me that you're sorry. And you know what I mean? Like, the way you prove you're sorry is to, repent and make up and do what you can to make up. And so that part of me has been like, oh, like, okay, I gotta make it up. But then also getting upset when I don't come through. And then the point is, this morning I realized that the punisher is the one right now that needs to make the apology, because how could I expect that part of me that was so sorry, that really hated herself, like, how could I expect that part of me, how could I expect myself to move on when I was just stepping on my own neck and like punishing myself and just being like, oh, you should be able to move on, you should do this, you should do that. But I was keeping myself down. Like, how could I possibly have moved on? And I realized that this morning, that I'm the one who was wrong there. Like, they're both me, but the punisher, the one holding the whip, was the one that was wrong. Um, so I've now seen both sides of it, and the funny thing is, the part of me that was getting whipped was so quick to forgive, um, because she knew what it's like to hurt. And see, like, I talk about it like it's two different people, but she knew, what it's like to hurt, and she knew that everything I'd done to myself was because I was angry, and I was angry because I was hurt, and she knows what hurt is. So she was so forgiving of me. And it's about forgiving myself, forgiving that part of myself, right? Like, having being the inhabiting the punisher role and forgiving myself for that, because I am sorry. But the other part of me who was being punished is like, it's okay. And that was a big realization for me. And it comes from the people that I've been hanging out with, conversations I've been having, but also this book that talks about, like, where your personal mind comes from, where all these, like, basically neuroses and blockages of energy, basically, like, you've got this energy flowing through you, and by holding on to anything, whether it's because you love it or because you're trying to push it away, right? Because when you push something away and you don't deal with it, you're still holding on to it. You don't deal with it, you've still got it. It's still there, right? It's still there. Um, and I that so it's talking about how that is actually just you holding your energy, you pushing it down and saying, I'm not going to pay attention to it, or I'm holding on to this beautiful thing and I don't want to let it go because that'll make me sad. You know, you've got this energy flowing, and those things stop the energy. And your mind, when the energy kind of flows around, your mind just like it, your mind is reacting to those points when the energy just hits your junk, right? The junk you stored inside of you. Um, and I'm trying to think about how you let that junk go, right? It's like, but um, that's sort of one of the things that I really connected with this morning. Where was I going with that? So I was talking to myself, and I was that part of me, the part of me that had been punished, and the part of me that just wanted to be happy and forgive and let go, is part of me that wants to release these things and flow and skip and be free. And that's something I'm working on, because the other part of me that's the punisher is still kind of like not stubborn, not angry, but solid where she is. Like, ugh, like I feel like I'm just a block, a nice block of marble, but just like, it's a heaviness and a setness. And I know that that'll go away, that I will be able to release that in time. It's just going to take some time. But that's pretty much it. I went in more depth than I thought I was going to. But I have to encourage you to forgive yourself, which is not an easy task, right? Give yourself, talk to yourself, be a be a bit kind. Realize that you're doing your best, and regardless whether or not you feel like you deserve forgiveness. This is the first step that I took. Whether or not you think you deserve forgiveness, realize the punishing is not helping. It's not. It's keeping you stuck. And it's not, if you ever want a different life, if you ever want a different life, you have to let that go. You have to be able to recognize those thoughts, and it's hard. It's a hard thing. You have to train yourself, and it takes a while to recognize the thought, and then just be like, that doesn't serve me. That doesn't serve me. If I want, you know what? Like, I've punished myself enough. Honestly, 10 years of depression, I punished myself enough. It's fine. I made up for it and then some. Maybe I don't deserve it. That's my thought to myself. But I've been in jail and, and it's okay. Like, I made up for it. The things that I've done that made me upset at myself, they weren't they weren't 10 years worth of depression worthy. Um so it's just like, whether or not I think in this moment that I think that I am worthy of it, I need to go forward, and the only way I can go forward is to forgive myself, and the only way I can do that is to let go of these thoughts. So that's what I was working on, and then today I had this other, like, reverse from the other side breakthrough, because it was like my punisher earlier. It was like my punisher being like, okay, I'll forgive you, but you have to make it up to me. You got to show me that you mean it. You got to show me that you're gonna fix this. You know what I mean? Like, do the next best thing. You can't give me these past 10 years back, but do the next best thing. Make me have a happy you and I was promising that to myself. Like, I'll give you a happy life from now on. I'll give you a happy life. But that part of me that was the punisher was still pretty stern. Still pretty like, all right, fucking go. Go. Show me. You know what I mean? Like, you want me to forgive you, want me to love you, you show me. But today I saw it from the other way. And the part of me that I was apologizing to was so much more ready to forgive me than the Punisher part, right? And that really threw me for a loop because it was like, well, the Punisher part was like, well, holding on to all this anger and things like that, and the other part of me is just like, no, let's just go. That's great. You don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I don't want you to feel bad. Like, and it was just like, how can this other part of me be so forgiving when this like Punisher person is like, but it's good. It's all good. And yeah, I mean, all I can do is encourage you to, if you're like me or were like me or are like what I was, or just enjoying seeing me like go off on like all these crazy tangents, um, you know, think about it. Whether or not you think you deserve it, you need to move forward. And punishing yourself is only going to keep you down. I was standing on my own neck, expecting myself to get up and do something, but I was holding myself down. I was like throttling myself. And how can you expect that part of you that you want to move on, that's why you're punishing them? How can you expect that person to be able to get up and walk and do something if you've got your hands around their neck or your foot on their throat? You can't. So yeah, but that part of you that you're depressed, you're oppressing and like just grinding into the ground, that person is ready to forgive you. That's my thought. And I'll stop it there.